When it comes to neck pain, short-term relief matters, but it won't stop your body from slipping straight back into stress mode. Because for most people with recurring neck tension, the kind that spikes when you're overwhelmed, under pressure, or holding in emotion, stress and your nervous system are the real drivers. If your nervous system keeps flipping into protective mode, your neck will tighten again. And that's why in this final episode of my neck pain series, we're shifting our attention away from the neck and onto the brain and the nervous system, the home of your stress patterns, your reactions, and your sense of safety. Because getting rid of your neck pain was never about fixing your neck. It's about slowly letting go of the things that make you feel like you need to protect yourself in the first place. This video is part of my neck pain series where we've explored why stress-based neck pain happens and why the nervous system, not the neck, keeps driving your pain. If you're new here, hi, I'm Ellen. I'm a chronic pain counselor with a background in physical therapy, and this is my neck pain series. In the last episode, I showed you the neck pain reset routine, a simple, on-the-go way to interrupt the pain cycle, calm the tension, and ease your pain. That routine helps you get through the day. But I don't want you to just get through a day, or a week, or a month. I want your pain to be something that you barely remember. I want you to stop dreading flare-ups and start trusting your body again. I want you to do the things that you love without that familiar pinch holding you back. I want you to sink into your pillow at night and feel warm and cozy and comfortable and at ease. Because that is what's possible when you understand your nervous system and start working with your body instead of against it. When you shift the patterns underneath the pain, your body doesn't just stop fighting you, it actually starts supporting you. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video today. Before we dive into some common nervous system patterns, this part of the process is incredibly personal. So there's no way that I can speak perfectly to your exact situation without knowing you. But what I can do is share some of the most common scenarios that I see. Ones that I've lived through, ones that I hear from my clients, and ones that are just universally experienced. So take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And let these examples just be a starting point for understanding how your neck responds to the way you move through your life. Imagine this. You've promised yourself that you'll stop work at 6 p.m. or that Sundays will be rest days, or that you'll finally take that hour just all to yourself, but it's 6:15 and you're still working. Or it's Sunday and you're still doing the chores or planning the week or catching up on tasks. Or you sit down to rest, but then find something else that needs to get done. And your neck is starting to tighten and the aching is starting to scream at you. Not because of the work itself, but because you broke the promise that you tried to keep for yourself. This one is the productivity override pattern. It's the reflex that says, keep going, don't slow down, you haven't earned your rest yet. But rest isn't something that you earn. It's something that your nervous system requires. A tiny shift that you can try is simply to choose a boundary and honor it. Even if it's small, even if it's very simple, make a small promise to yourself or set a boundary that you can easily keep. You don't have to promise yourself a whole day of rest or something that just feels really unrealistic. It could just be 15 minutes of downtime. It's not about the promise, it's about keeping the promise with yourself. This is an example of how creating a harmonious relationship within ourselves can help soothe our nervous systems and have a positive flow-on effect to our neck. You don't have to overhaul your whole life, it's small incremental changes. So that's an example of how our nervous system can be affected by our relationship within ourselves. But interpersonal relationships, especially family, are a huge source of stress and neck pain. I have a client who is a mother who spent years trying to protect her kids and her family. If someone was stressed, she'd step in. If someone was overwhelmed, she'd fix it. If there was conflict, she'd smooth it over. And for a long time, that worked. Because as all mothers know, that is a big part of being a mum, taking care of your family. But now her kids are teenagers, old enough to be making their own decisions and their own mistakes. And that's where things started to get really hard. If something painful happened, she tried to prevent it before it started. She tried to correct mistakes before they were made. And she'd been called controlling. But her actions weren't coming from a controlling place. They were coming from a wish to protect her family. They were coming from love. She genuinely wanted to spare the people she cared for from discomfort. But by the time she came to see me, she was exhausted. Her neck was constantly tight. She had headaches and jaw tension and shoulder tension. Her body was bracing all the time. And her nervous system was constantly on duty, hypervigilant. The work we did wasn't about telling her to chill out or stop caring. It was about helping her trust that her family members were allowed to have their own experiences, even negative ones, and that she didn't have to absorb everything for them. And she started by just practicing very small shifts. When something stressful happened, instead of jumping in immediately, she learned to pause, drop her shoulders, and say to herself, they can handle this. At first, it felt impossible, and then it felt uncomfortable. Then it became a tiny bit easier. And over time, not instantly, her family became more and more capable, and she became less and less overwhelmed, and her neck became less and less painful. Her healing wasn't about letting go of love, it was about letting go of the responsibility that was no longer hers. I feel like quite a few of my clients may watch this and think that I'm talking about them. And I honestly could be talking about several of my clients right now because this is such a common story, especially for mothers. I see this pattern again and again and again. So if you recognize yourself in this, just know you are not alone. And I am no stranger to this. I lived with neck pain for most of my life. I resolved it years ago after a big health and life overhaul, and I went from debilitating neck pain and headaches to completely pain-free by working with my nervous system and my thoughts and emotions. But last year, my neck pain started to creep back in. The headaches, the shoulder tension, and I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. Nothing dramatic had happened, life seemed pretty normal, but something just felt off. And it really wasn't until I sat down with my counselor that I realized that I had developed this habit of tying my self-worth to my productivity. I probably had this habit for a long time, but when I moved to Sydney a couple of years ago, my income really dipped. And those feelings of self-worth being tied to productivity and income were suddenly doused in fuel. And everything inside me was saying, I am not enough, I'm not contributing enough, I don't deserve rest, I don't deserve nice things. And I would say things sort of like in a joking way, but in a very like critical, self-deprecating way that made it obvious what was going on, but I wasn't kind of picking up on it. It took me a while to realize what was happening, realizing that the joking was kind of covering up the guilt and the shame that had been sitting underneath. And slowly but surely, my neck tightened long before I could see these patterns happening. And the real shift didn't come from getting a massage or doing something relaxing or even saying nice things to myself. It came from facing those deeper fears that I had ignored because they were uncomfortable and confronting. When I finally worked through that and I stopped tying my worth to my output and really broke those patterns, my neck pain disappeared. The headaches went away. And weirdly enough, I actually became more creative. I was suddenly more inspired in my work, more productive in a healthy way. And that's actually when I started this YouTube channel. It's like things finally clicked. And now, if I feel neck pain or headaches coming on, I know exactly what to check. have I slipped back into my old ways of thinking? And almost every time, the answer is yes. Because this is not a one and done kind of thing. I'm still going to slip back into tying my self-worth to my productivity and output. It's just a habit. It's something I've practiced probably for the last 20 years. But seeing it and recognizing it just takes so much of the power out of it. And I'm so much quicker to recognize it. And I'm also getting better and better at realigning myself with the truth that I am enough as I am, not because of how much I earn and not because of how productive I've been, but just because I exist. And when that lands, my neck relaxes and my nervous system calms right down. My neck pain used to feel like an enemy, and now it's more like a messenger. It gives me valuable insight. It alerts me to what's going on inside my head. It's a tool that I genuinely rely on to stay aligned. Some patterns or mental habits or protective mechanisms shift with small behavior changes, and some go more deep into old fears, old roles, and unresolved beliefs. If these mental patterns feel impossible to change, that doesn't mean that you're stuck. It just means that your body is holding on to this defense mechanism for a reason. And that's where support from friends or family or a counselor or a psychologist can make all the difference. Because you don't have to do all of this alone. I know for me, having a counselor to work with, someone external to my own head, made the whole process so much easier. The first time I went through my big sort of health journey and mental habits overhaul, I was completely alone. And it was long and it was scary and it was tiring, but I did get through it. But for this more recent sort of revelation, for lack of a better word, I had a counselor to work with, and it was so helpful to have someone to verbalize my emotions with and to talk through what was going on. It felt safer to go through that process with someone by my side. Anyway, that's just my little plug for counselors out there. But back to neck pain. Your neck pain isn't random. It's not weakness, it's just your body trying to protect you, using defenses that it learned a long time ago. If you've made it all the way through this series, I just want to say thank you and well done. Most people never learn any of this. Most people never question the old "it's your posture" story. Most people have never considered that stress and the nervous system and pain could even be related. But you did. Short-term tools help you get through the day. Long-term tools help you break the cycle. And just recognizing that link between your pain and your emotions and your stress is a huge part of the journey. If you're curious about how counseling with me works, if you want help navigating those deeper layers gently and safely, I've put my details down in the description below. Thank you so much for being here through this neck pain series. This has been a delight to make. This is my first time ever making a series like this, and I'm pretty happy with how it went. But there is always more to talk about when it comes to pain and the nervous system, so I will see you in the next video. Oh my god, this chair is so squeaky, it's actually insane. Okay. Oh, I'm very pink. It's the first day of summer today for us Aussies. Because for most people, cool. All right, I think I got it.